Innovation and Success, Malta's Digital Landscape.
Can we have another round of applause, please, for my guests and the first speakers of SiGMA AIBC Malta Euromed Edition. Welcome. How are you today?
Good morning, everyone. What a fantastic venue here. And I'm looking forward to share my thoughts with the audience here and also to learn from my colleague so we can give these people a good insight into this upcoming debate.
Amazing.
Good morning to everybody here. It's such an honor to be speaking in this panel. Thank you for joining, Honorable Callus, and my moderator here and the audience here. So good morning and a fresh start for a fresh day, and that day that would see SiGMA Malta having this repetitive success in our country. Such a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Can I start with you, Ray, please? Even SiGMA AIBC brand this time dubbed as a pioneer in tech regulation. So let's talk about tech regulation and education. I know you work at ICT education and digital literacy, and you have empowered thousands of people across Malta. So in your opinion, how can Malta education system further evolve to equip citizens with the skills that need to, to evolve and thrive in the digital and innovative economy? We cannot argue that the current world, the modern world, is very much on the digital side.
Yes, this is a topic that I've been discussing, working upon, experiencing myself in it for the past 40 years. I started my business at the age of 17. I was a pioneer here in Malta in education. So I have seen a lot of technologies and courses and training for our citizens, actually. And this is a way that to empower the citizens in the use of digital technology has over time developed from, let's say, the use of computers, then the use of laptops, and today the palm tops as well, and mobile phones, etc. And through this evolution, I've seen a lot of what you say topics or modules in the field of basic ICT. At my age, at 17, the only benchmark qualification was O-level in computer studies. Okay. Nowadays, we have a lot. I mean, at my age, I had to go abroad to make a degree in computing, for example. Nowadays, we have all these things
here in Malta.
Locally here in Malta. So there are a lot of opportunities for our youths, our students, our workers to develop themselves in this era. But I have seen the evolution of technology. At an early stage, we used to think about programming a computer, like, using basic programming. I used to do COBOL programming, so on and so forth. And I also used to teach my students, and obviously workers in the programming sector, in the development sector. I used to give training at that time in Lotus 1-3 and text processing program. Nowadays, we use word processing. And how the evolution went throughout the years. In 1995, practically 30 years ago, the evolution of the internet in our houses. So that was also a breakthrough in communications that has changed the way that we can communicate with each other, that we can obviously tap for information on the internet. So that is 30 years ago. So I went through the education and the use of applications and software and Internet of Things, things that work with the internet as well. And I have seen this progression nowadays we're talking a lot, and we have to talk a lot about AI.
True, true.
And this is the evolution. This is the phenomenon of today and tomorrow. In 5 years' time, we'll be speaking on the importance of AI as we used to speak 30 years ago about internet. So yes, that's the evolution. And
Maybe our AI avatars will be speaking to each other.
yes, sure, and robotics as well.
Exactly.
I mean, AI is going to go in every sector, like in our government, in all the ministries. And so as a parliamentarian, I seek to promote this thing, the AI and digital and technology and the transformation of all these things amongst my colleagues in the parliament and the ministries and sectors and authorities in the government. So yes, it's a drive, and we have to think about to not only educate, but we need to excite the people towards the use of technology. Okay?
Do you also use AI in your everyday work routine?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes. I use AI for research, but obviously the use of AI is very important to use it responsibly.
That's
That's
true.
what I teach with students and children, and even in the education system. When I speak in Parliament, I speak about the responsibility of using AI. Okay, AI as a reference. All right, AI that works for the people, not vice versa.
Exactly, as a support, not a
Yes.
replacement.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Ryan, let's talk about, alongside your political career, you're also a mechanical engineer. You're a founder of AirPlus Engineering Consultants. So you emphasized renewable energy, sustainability, green building. So how can Malta digital innovation ecosystem, also in regards to what we just said, integrate sustainable tech, green tech, to enhance the position of Malta as a leader in eco-conscious, tech-friendly development?
So, gaming is a sector which requires a lot of energy.
True that.
Apart from human energy, I'm speaking about electrical energy. So, you've asked me about how is Malta preparing itself. We all know that Malta is very small, the smallest of all member states in the European Union. But sometimes that smallness can be used as an advantage. An advantage in the sense that it is easy practically to, or it should be easy to effectively implement legislation and also pilot projects in a population of about 500,000. So when it comes to gaming, Malta can be at the forefront to introduce initiatives, financing, collaborations to make the gaming industry, because Malta is a pioneer in the gaming industry, to make the gaming industry more energy efficient. Now, we all know gaming and this industry requires a lot of data storage. Data storage in itself requires a lot of power. And power, in terms, requires a lot of, actually results in a lot of heating in terms of temperature. And that, as a result, requires a lot of cooling. So, for those of you who might be thinking, where is this guy going? We have to make gaming more environment efficient in establishing data centers which are more efficient. And there is this parameter which we use, the PUE, power usage effectiveness. The power usage effectiveness can be a marker whereby companies can be tested against how effective they are in using as low possible energy that they can, but by providing the biggest output ever.
Okay.
So we need to have data centers which are energy efficient in terms of being artificially intelligent. So if you have a system whereby you have certain times during the day where the heat in your data servers is very high, with an artificial intelligence system, you can predict when that peak of heating occurs. So rather than having a cooling HVAC system, an air conditioning large-scale system, always going all the time and set to a temperature of, ideally it should be for data centers, 21 degrees Celsius. You can have instances where the room temperature is 18 degrees Celsius. It can be 19, it can be 20. If it is lower than 21, I'm giving an average. So now, a CEO might come here and tell me, or a chief technical officer might come here and tell me, no, listen, we need it to be 20. I'm not arguing about whether it's 20 or 21. What I'm arguing is, let us establish the temperature that is required for the best performance of our servers, but then make sure that we never go below that. Why? Because with every degree less than the established temperature, we are becoming inefficient, we are wasting resources, we are wasting, if hopefully not, but if we're using fossil fuels, we are damaging the environment as well. And most importantly, and this is where CEOs would be happy to hear this news, you'll be saving money and increasing your profits. So this is my first proposal when it comes to energy saving. Another point could be, we can establish also green game servers trust mark. So we can establish this scheme or a trademark whereby these are those gaming companies which are the most efficient in doing this are given a trademark. And this trademark can be used in your negotiations with companies, with clients, with people who decide to choose your company because you are an environment-sensitive company. These are just 2 points which I'm placing for discussion, whereby I believe as a nation, but also worldwide, we can make a substantial step in this sector.
Thank you. Yeah, that is true. Data centers play a crucial role, especially when it comes not only to the ecosystem development, but also for the sustainable engineering and caring about the environment. Now, both of you have championed the innovation field in your respective fields. Now, what do you think are Malta's biggest challenges and obstacles that we're facing when it comes to establishing an actual digitally innovative and sustainable future?
First and foremost, the most important thing is agility to regularize. That's the most important thing. And not only that, not the agility, we are a small nation, all right? And we strive very much. And the agility makes us leaders in it. And not only that, because if you're in the front of making regularization, you must, in technology moves fast, so we have to move fast as well in the regularization. Yes. So that's the most important thing, all right? Secondly, is about human resources factor. It's the retention of talent, it's important, and the ability for our nation to create, sort of to speak, the necessary human resources, workers, students, that can be part of this innovation, this part of business, these innovative sectors, these emerging sectors. So the idea of exciting more our youth, our children, to go along these paths. And apart from that, as a government, we need to invest heavily in this excitement in evolving specialized training courses, specialized degrees in these areas as well, being gaming, being AI, being fintechs, so on and so forth. So as well, not only targeting our youth, but we can also target our workers And for that, we need to have a solid idea about providing the necessary tools, the necessary financial aid for upskilling and reskilling our workers. So examples of workers that currently they are working in different roles, but not in technology. So what about sustaining them towards the opportunities that the nation, that Malta is creating, like opportunities in these technologies, like gaming, for example. So the more we are able to create this harmonization of providing training to the citizens out there, all right, as well working citizens, we are able to have a guaranteed success in these areas. So these are the barriers, basically.
Addressing all generations, which is a very good point. Everybody needs to keep up.
Yes.
You know? That's true. Okay, Brian, what do
I
you...
have some. So your question is, what are Malta's barriers to innovation?
Yes, the
Some of the
obstacles.
points my colleague has picked up on them. I believe there are three. So it's talent, regulation, and capital funding. So talent, obviously, it is useless making legislation or pushing a country towards a certain economic direction, but then you are not geared up educationally to provide a continuous crop of new graduates, of new techs, of a new generation, which can be ready to fill in those positions. So I would say, first and foremost, we have to look at our educational system. Now, I am not an expert in this field. My colleague is more of an expert than I am. But definitely we need to streamline our educational upbringing, our educational structure, our educational content and subjects to make sure that they are in line to what this country is looking ahead. Secondly, I've stated already, we are a small nation, so we will need foreign technical expertise.
Okay.
So we have to look at a special visa for very, very high-tech individuals which have substantial experience which might not be available in Malta. And we have a duty to facilitate such that these high-tech individuals can easily, when required by gaming companies and innovation companies, they can be easily accessible to receive in Malta. Second point is regulatory agility. So when it comes to innovation and research, you have three stages. You have the testing phase, you have the license, eventually, and then you eventually have the R&D for the grant of the decisions.
Yeah.
I believe we need to set clear targets. Set clear timeframes for each of these three phases. So let's say for the sandbox entry, the testing phase, we would limit that to, let's say, 30 days. Second phase, now this depends on the complexity of the research and the projects.
Okay.
But there are certain initiatives which do not require the complexities of large-scale research. So in that case, we have to make a distinction to make research more accessible and research funds more available and in the immediate term. Third point, scale and capital. Again, we need partnerships, not only local but international. And we need funding, not only local but international. So as a shadow minister for research, people ask me, how much is it enough to invest in funding from national funds? It is never enough.
Never enough.
Because the potential is so huge. Let me give you an example. Scienza Malta, which is the agency which gives grants and processes grants for research, around 80% of the submissions qualify for a grant.
80.
Around 80%. So that means 80% of the submissions are of a very good level, but only a smaller percentage are given the grant. So this means that there is a big appetite out there in the market, which we are not feeding. Now, I do not expect this country and my government to subsidize everyone. But we need to be more intelligent at attracting more foreign direct investment through collaboration, and more especially more foreign assistance, even through European funds, to make research in Malta jump this major notch, which we definitely need.
Thank you. Now, Rafe, to follow up on this, how do you think Malta can leverage public-private partnerships to drive economic growth, the innovation?
Yes, to kick off with this question, it's a good question.
Yes.
I have to make...
Can you hold a little closer?
I have to make a reference to what I said about education. From recent surveys conducted by EU, 96% of youths in Malta between the 16 and 24 years, 96% are well equipped with basic ICT skills. We're in the forefront from European countries. The average in EU is just 70%. We're 96%.
96.
We're happy? No, I'm not happy personally. I'm happy when we're 100 at this stage, and a diversified way of education, not just basic ICT skills. As I said before, there are a lot of different variations nowadays in emerging technologies, and in schools like primary schools, secondary schools, we have to start giving training in these emerging technologies as well, not just basic ICT skills. And this ICT is a necessity today, as it was 30 years ago and 50 years ago in learning mathematics, English, you know, and the languages. So this is important. When it comes to the other ages, the tendency is that the percentages are well down, and we have to think about giving and allowing incentives, projects as well, international projects as well, so that we allow citizens and we equip all the citizens, including all demographics and ages, generations, like parents, for example. It is important for today to give training and information to parents about the social impact of, for example, AI,
Yes.
the social impact of social media, all right? And you know, cyberbullying, cybercrime, cyberstalking. These are all things that we have to cater for. Incidentally, last month before we went on holidays from Parliament, we have passed a legislation about cyberstalking and cyberbullying as well. So we have this agility and the appetite as a government to proceed and making these legislations. When it comes to private-public partnership, of course, that's important. I'll give you some examples, like banks.
Yes.
They invest heavily in internet banking, for example, and these services towards the citizen. But if we are not ready to make a budget in a sense of corporate responsibility, a budget that gives enough information and training to the citizen out there to be knowledgeable in the use of these e-services and the internet banking. This is the idea forward. Take, for example, the government. We've been the first in the EU countries in electronic governance. Okay. The first. We have over 250 services from the public services, from the government, that are accessible online. But what we're doing to have the uptake of the citizens in the use of these services. So that is where the public-private partnership should go in. Over the past years, I developed a couple of projects with local authorities. And I was the first, and I have a privilege to say that I was the first company that have developed this partnership with local councils, for example. at a time of Malta with around 64 local councils, we had around 32, 35 community training centers where we used to give training at local councils. And the training was for kids, for parents, for adults, for workers. All these projects, different projects. I reckon like projects in the field of kids, e-anciano, so e-elderly. These are all exciting projects that we have developed, and we had interest and we had uptake in them. So this public-private partnership, I see it very, very important, especially when it comes to education, and especially how we can educate the general public there with the responsibility in the use of emerging technologies and the social impact of the technology itself. So yes, that's important.
Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we're out of time. A few closing remarks from you, if you want to add something to our talk and the Maltese digital future and efforts that needs to be taken.
Thank you, SiGMA, for choosing Malta again. Thank you for inviting me for this debate. One thing which I can say, especially to the companies that we have present here today, is that this country has political consensus on this industry. So you can rest assured that when you invest in Malta, you can put your mind at rest that in this country you can grow, you can find the talent, and it is in our interest that your companies and your employees develop, they increase in their knowledge, because it is in our interest that this is done. From our side, as politicians, obviously we need to make sure that we have the proper infrastructure in place, because the infrastructure is the most basic thing, that without it, no truly avant-garde economy can develop and reach new heights. So from our end, apart from ensuring that we have a good environment where to invest, we can also assure you that we will invest in our infrastructure, both in terms of road infrastructure, energy infrastructure, data infrastructure, all the infrastructure that is required for a good gaming company, for the sector to grow more than it has done till now. Thank you, Olga.
Thank you so much. Thanks. That was an amazing start of the day. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for starting the conference with me. Ladies and gentlemen, please another round of applause. Honorary Abela, Honorary Callus, and we move on to the next one. Thank you so much, gentlemen.